My friends, there have been many great speedrunners of many great games over the years, and when it comes to GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, PerfectAce is considered by many to be the greatest of all time. While he hasn't played that much in the past few years, and is no longer ranked first overall in either game, he does hold the record for most days as champion in both games. A spot he's held on and off in each game for more than 5 years. Today I wanted to talk about 5 of Ace's most amazing or interesting world record speedruns in GoldenEye or Perfect Dark, what makes them so remarkable, and share some personal insight and commentary from Ace on these speedruns. I also wanted to talk about runs that I've yet to bring up in previous videos, so you can be sure these stories are fresh, or as Ace might put it, refreshing like a crisp can of Vimto. So what a better place to start than War Agent 25, Ace's first ever world record, and one that was claimed amidst much skepticism, given that all we knew about Ace at the time was that he was apparently some 10-year-old kid, and he was claiming that he had tied a record which was, at the time, one of Carl Jobst's best untied world records. Now, it was a different era back then in 2005, and runners were usually given the benefit of the doubt, or at least some time to eventually capture videos of their speedruns and find a way to upload them online. And even though the general trend was to be more lenient and patient, even with really special world record claims, the claim we were faced with was so shocking that many doubted Ace would prove his ability. So the entire community was shocked when PerfectAce uploaded this footage showing a War Agent 26 captured live by his brother.
Yeah, take that, Matt.
I'll take it.
Perfect.
Yes, it was a 26, not a 25, but it was enough proof that PerfectAce was a real person who was really good at Perfect Dark, and bought him some more time and understanding to get a video capture setup, which he would use to later prove his claim of War Agent 25, and certainly a sign that he was going to be something of a prodigy in the coming future. In the summer of 2006, a new strategy was discovered on the Bunker 2 level, where you'd create a bunch of noise to lure out a guard carrying a clipboard, part of Objective A, to a location less out of your way later on in the mission. Boss would use this strategy to lower the record from 105 all the way down to 101 over the course of a few weeks in summer 2006. Ace would eventually tie 101 in February 2007, but wanted to keep playing, and he would shock the world the next day when he revealed a time of 58 seconds, an additional 3-second time cut. At the time, Ace was using control style 1.3, which uses the control stick rather than the C buttons to move, and this uses the A button to shoot rather than the Z button, because he apparently somehow learned this style growing up. I mean, to me it sounds like a bad prank from an older brother or cousin to make him play worse in multiplayer over the years. But the circumstances around this record were even more remarkable. Ace explains.
Yeah, so there was, basically, the standard family gathering or meeting going on in my room. And I'm just, chilling on my computer chair playing Bunker 2 WOHN. And, my brother's next to me watching me play. But I'm pretty much playing on autopilot. And so the actual run of the 58, when I hit the last camera, I didn't really remember how good the first half of the level was. So I was just hoping it wouldn't be a 101 duplication and that I'd actually get an untied. So when I pressed next on the end screen and saw 58, I was just in complete shock. It's like one thing to get a 1 second untied, but then, to kind of break the 1 minute barrier on a level and just see that 58, it was just, it shocked me. And so I literally got out my chair and went to some other room and did this Indian dance for like a good 2 minutes, where I tried to kind of process what exactly had happened. And then like after that I got back with this immense feeling of elation. And obviously the first thing I did was like immediately check, okay, is the video fine, is the VCR recording okay? And then obviously, the next thing I'd do is, I knew people would be shocked to see 58 as well. And that also like contributed to how, happy I was. So yeah, that was like a truly remarkable, moment for me.
So if you've ever pondered just how much time and focus speedrunners need for peak performance, just remember the time an 11-year-old PerfectAce busted out a 3-second untied world record amidst the distraction of a family meeting, and a time that is still a top 10 score on the level today. Speaking of Ace records achieved well ahead of their time, Ace's record on Mayan SOS Perfect Agent is perhaps the best example of that. One of Perfect Dark's bonus stages, you play as a small grey alien who has less health than on the other stages where you play as Joanna Dark, so it's already incredibly hard to survive, even just playing casually. Dust off the old N64, crack out an emulator yourself to give it a try. The world record stood at 2:08 for about 3 years, set by the aforementioned Matt Cook, aka Jugador J3, in 2004, until it was finally cut down by Taka in 2007 to 2:07. Ace lowered this to 2:06, but things really took off when two other Perfect Dark players, Karathorn and Red Bull, mailed Ace an NTSC Nintendo 64 console in late 2007, the less laggy and hence slightly faster console for Perfect Dark. Ace would use this to achieve 20 untied world records in Perfect Dark in December 2007, including a Mayan SOS Perfect Agent 202.
So the NTSC part is kind of interesting. I was in 8th grade and I came back from school one day and my mom told me a package had arrived for me, and I immediately knew it was the NTSC console and game, and although it was exam month, it was December, I was very excited and I just wanted to get as many world records as possible. So Mayan Sauce, particularly Perfect Agent, was appealing to me because it's one of those levels that really rewards good movement and how well you can react to different guard movements and reactions, and I really enjoyed playing those type of levels. And another fact is like it doesn't have any massive luck factor unlike many of the PD levels, so I played the level quite a bit and I lowered my 206 untied to 204 and then to 203, and then the very next morning I decided on a whim that, to see if I could lower the record any further, and I just happened to hit a very good run quite quickly. I mean, I watched my 202 again and I had an open door in the beginning and also a perfect first lift shot, which is quite uncommon. So I mean, I think it was probably one of my best, if not my best record in 2007, or at least at that time. And I mean, if I were to try to tie the record today, then I wouldn't find it any different in difficulty than to how I did 11 years ago. So yeah, I do think it was probably one of my best achievements at that time.
Even more remarkable would be the gap between Ace's record and everyone else. Taka had 207, Jugador had 208, Boss and Your Eliteness had 211, and everyone else was even further behind. The record would remain untied through 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2015, until June 2016, when Carl Jobst would finally break it with a 2-minute run after Ace's 202 stood untied for 3,091 days, more than 8 long years. Impressively, Ace's 202 is still the second best time ever achieved on the level, more than 11 years after it being originally set. Truly a mark for the ages, and the embodiment of Ace's incredible skill and legendary speedruns.
Hey, you! Grab a body bag.
here's a story I'm sure you've never heard before. Well, maybe aside from some of this context. In early 2006, Carl Jobst returned to GoldenEye Perfect Dark and achieved a number of records, among them the Untied Train Agent 106. Ace had also been learning GoldenEye at the time and discovered he was pretty good at Train himself. After a series of time cuts by Ace, 112, 110, 108, Carl jokingly told Ace he'd give him $20 if he tied the 106, which, of course, Ace did. There was some attention on the secret agent difficulty as well, where Boss was fleshing out a strategy involving shooting Ormov from very far away, which begins the timer of Natalia's hacking objective. He lowered the record by 1 second to 1:42 with this. Ace would try his hand at secret agent, and instead of using this new strategy, just charged full bore into the final room to game-end Ormov as quickly as possible. This worked out for Ace, who managed to score a Train Secret Agent 141, his first career GoldenEye Untied world record. Or so he thought. You see, as soon as Ace posted this remarkable speedrun to the forum, Henrik Weister posted a series of records on the level. 136, 134, 133, 131, using a brand new massive time save strategy. The time cut was so absurd that Henrik's posts were initially removed by moderators since they thought he was just trolling. Basically, Henrik discovered that if you can remove the locks at the end of the train quickly enough, you can get outside the train before Natalia notices. Generally, if you left the train at any point during her hacking sequence, she would follow you out, regardless of whether or not she completed her objective. So instead of having to wait inside the train for her entire hacking sequence and objective completion, you could now exit the train early and wait at the very end of the level, timing your exit to coincide with the same moment the objective completes. This means you're now finishing the level at the moment when you used to be leaving the train, a strategy that we'd learn saves 14 seconds, and one of the largest time savers in the history of the game. All that being said, the strategy Ace used for his 141 now became obsolete, and so his 141, his not-to-be first career Untied, has been the de facto old strategy world record ever since. If you've ever happened to see Ace around over the last few years, there's a good chance he was referencing or memeing about his favorite record, Pelagic 2 Special Agent 137. Since November 2009, only two men, Ace and Clemens, have achieved a world record on this stage, one with a particularly high skill ceiling and demanding execution. Clemens hit a remarkable run of 140 in the year 2010, which stood untied for 3 years until finally matched by Ace. Later, in 2015, a new strategy was discovered on the Agent difficulty, and even though it wasn't useful on Special Agent, it did reignite interest in the stage. Ace lowered the record to 139, but was matched by Clemens only 2 days later. Ace also lowered the record on Perfect Agent from 156 to 154 during this time, and not wanting Clemens to ruin all his fun, he pushed for even lower on Special Agent. After a week of grinding and countless duplicated 139s and 140s from both Ace and Clemens, it seemed either would have been more than happy with eking out a 138 and moving on, which made it even more miraculous that Ace got this speedrun.
So the thing with Pelagic 2 Special Agent is that, at least for me and Clemens, the run pretty much begins halfway through the level when you're doing the X-ray and you're pressing these buttons. And I actually had the best X-ray set over here. So when I was going into the blue corridors where Elvis is, I was like, this is a good chance, it's a pretty good run. But the ending is like really pretty much 70% of the level because of the amount of guard luck and door luck involved. So when I saw the first open door and then I saw the second open door, I was like, holy shit, this has a very good chance of world record. And then I saw the third open door and I was like, holy shit, this is actually 138 pace. And then I got up those stairs kind of smoothly. And then I saw a fourth open door and I was just in complete shock because, it's very rare to actually see 4 open doors. And, my heart was pounding out my chest. I looked at the timer briefly at the bottom left of the screen, and it was like 3 seconds faster than my normal pace is. So I was extremely nervous, and you can kind of see how shaky my movement is at the store. And I was only thinking to myself, I have to clutch the ending and I can't choke. And when I saw the 137 on the end screen, I was just like completely astonished. And at that point, I just said to myself, oh my god, like 4 times in a row. And I really felt like that was like my best world record at that point, and it was like my proudest achievement in either game. And I kind of say that with confidence, even though I've played both games for thousands of hours and I've achieved many records and Untied. I just felt like this run was really good and it would be very difficult to match. So I mean, yeah, just it was like probably my proudest moment, and probably the greatest achievement I've gotten in both games so far.
At the time, Ace's 137 stood not just 2 seconds ahead of Clemens, but 5 seconds ahead of the third place time held by Boss. To this day, only Carl and Green have dipped into this time range, both with 141s, and Ace's 137 remains unmatched since that run on June 16, 2015. Perhaps Ace's most remarkable speedrun of all. So there are 5 of PerfectAce's best or most interesting speedruns of all time. There have been many great and noteworthy speedruns over the years, achieved by many a great speedrunner, but these ones are among the very finest from perhaps the best Perfect Dark and GoldenEye speedrunner of all time. A huge thanks to Ace for sharing some of his commentary and insight about these runs, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a little about some cool speedruns. If you did, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to know when I upload a new video. In the meantime, thank you, stay true, and I will see you in the next stream or video.